this is such a hot day that not too many of the old-timers can get here. It's 37 degrees outside, and that's a bit too hot for a few of the ancient cars. Desmond Gibbs made fastest time. He's in car number 64 and has pole position on the far side of the road. Dennis O'Brien in another Mustang is alongside him.
Well, he's a good lad too, O'Brien.
Right, we'll watch O'Brien in 43. On the second row of the grid, in the latest Cortina, Paul Trevethan in car number 2, and 14 is John Virgo in another Mustang. So we have 3 Mustangs in the latest Cortina, 4 Fords up in the front row of the grid. Barry Jupp is missing at the moment.
Well,
He's missing
Barry
in car 11.
Did bend his car fairly badly in practice, but I don't know if that's the reason he's not here now.
Well, he has Greg Topfer waiting there in car 88. He's on an EH Holden, the one we came back to after that interview about the old Mercedes. It was the car we saw, and he's on the 6th row of the grid in car 88, Greg Topfer. Ken Matthews in another Mustang as the 1 minute mark goes up on the board. John Mann in an EH Holden. Frank Dartell in a Mini Cooper number 48. Recalling memories of Skinny Manton and Brian Foley and the great giant killers of the past.
Of course, that is Gavin Saylor car, is the Norm Beachy PK751S4 Holden.
Number 4, the blue Holden, midway through the field. Okay, we had a lot of starters, 31, a lot of entrants. Not all have got it to the line. David Mackay a bit further back in car 71. We much watch him because I'd like to tell you a story about David in the grey Jaguar, which won the Australian Touring Car Championship in 1960, 22 years ago. The 30-second mark goes up.
And the first car ever to have the GT stripes.
Do you know where they came from?
I don't know.
I'll tell you that story.
20 starters in this event for Appendix J. Pre-65 touring cars.
Now the man to watch, according to Peter Brock, is car 43, Dennis O'Brien. He's got Des Gibbs alongside him, both Mustangs. Paul Trevethan in the Cortina.
He's got the run at the start.
O'Brien, he loves smoking tyres.
Well, he might like smoking them, but he's back in 3rd place because the red Mustang of John Virgo has got up into 2nd place as they come through the bend. David Mackay with the red, white and blue stripes over the grey Jaguar going through in the midfield.
O'Brien sideways through the corner.
Yes, he drives it like a windscreen wiper, doesn't he?
Well, it's only 6 laps, so there's no time to muck about.
Now, there's trouble. If he can recover and get round that bend, let's just hold our breath before we swing to the right and see whether the road's clear or whether it's a massive debris. No, he got through.
He's there somewhere.
And he certainly dented the front of that lovely red Mustang too, doing that little manoeuvre, I presume.
And there's a Ford's effort. Graham Slater has the distinction of tailing the field, but that's not a bad distinction. At least you'll see all that's going on. And you can see the cars burling up the straight. There's a lot of heat out there. Not just the cars are suffering, our cameras are suffering too. There's a tremendous amount of heat. There's 37 officially, but it's hotter on the track, I can assure you. And there was a slight camera breakdown there, but our operators aren't breakdown. They're hanging on. And the EH Holden coming in, making a hard move there. That's Greg Topfer. He's trying a line that no one has tried since the days of Norm Beachy. I can see David Mackay's Jaguar still there. We must get on to car 71 halfway through the field at some stage, so I can tell you about those GT stripes, Peter Brock.
Yes. The most imitated accessory probably ever on a motor car.
Well, while we watch the race, let me tell you, in those days I used to work for Ampol. And Ampol bought that Jaguar for David Mackay to combat the Australian Touring Car Championship as it was to be. In those days it was dominated by such enormously fast vehicles as FJ Holden. And we weren't allowed to put any sign writing on the car. You weren't allowed to identify.
Oh, holy Moses, the stock salute. Boy, oh boy, John Virgo in the Mustang.
He looked like he was going to have an accident, didn't he?
But he tried very hard.
Oh, never leave your mates behind.
That's almost the last waltz, but the EH Holden just gave him a slight touch to make it absolutely impossible for John Virgo to get back in the race. There's hardly any damage, as you can see. Oh, a little bit more.
Well, that was early on, that front there. That was into Toronto corner the first time.
The biggest problem is to get out of there in a hurry because the chances are there's going to be some more in there shortly.
And they don't have
There it is again.
brakes, these vehicles.
Goodbye.
Yes, you can see that engine. Now, he does control it nicely, or at least
He's still got the power on too. Now, 10 points that man, because the wheel is actually still driving forward while he's going backwards. That's always a good sign, I think.
I've seen a replay of the jigs and has
Here's the section. Now, here's just a very slight touch. Watch it, just a little bit. Just like a supermarket encounter. No more. Now, back to David Mackay on the Jaguar. We weren't allowed to paint the name Ampol or any name on a car. So I said, OK, we'll paint it in stripes. Now, David Mackay almost fainted because he thought he'd been mistaken for a newspaper delivery boy. So I said, we will paint stripes over the car. So we compromised. We painted a red, white, blue stripe over the top And people said, gee, that is nice. No one thought it was the colours of Ampol. They said they must be European. They called them GT stripes, and everyone copied it. No one ever knew it was supposed to mean the company. Which shows you how you can go wrong with advertising, but maybe start a trend.
Well, in this event, Desmond Gibbs still holds pride of place. His flying lap time, by the way, is 1:29.6. That's a little bit slower than what we've seen in some of the open wheelers earlier in the telecast. But that's what you'd expect. This is still pretty quick for these vehicles, for their vintage.
Well, low, but his smoke out of the inside rear wheel arch. That's always a good sign from the ILH Holtons. No limited slips, very skinny tyres and plenty of horsepower, and something's got to give, and it's usually those tyres.
Very spectacular racing, though, Peter Brock, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, the art of suspension, of course, a lot further away than what it is nowadays.
That's what it used to be like. Yes. I see our cameraman are trying to show me David Mackay's car, but that's the wrong Jaguar. There's David's car with the red, white, and blue stripe. Now, that's the father of the GT stripes. It was supposed to indicate an oil company. No one ever got the message, but it looked nice.
Yes. Obviously, David doesn't know the difference. He's kept them on.
Well, it's a car that was collected by, is it Graham Blandon in Adelaide and Leyland, Australia. I suspect largely through the enthusiasm of John Crawford. Found the car there, bought it back and said, hey, this is too historic a car that belongs to anyone but the manufacturer. And they got the car back, and it's a lovely little thing. What's not that old, 21 years. It's a famous car. It deserves to be preserved. And like so many of the old cars of the Australian motor racing, to have an honoured place so they can occasionally be seen in action, but certainly be seen in a museum or some such institution. Being passed by a Mini, well, that wouldn't have happened in 1960. Mind you, it would have happened in 1962 when the Minis really got going.
Yes, the little Cooper S, of course, which is still today a potent car.
Yes.
Quite a large engine for its size, at 1275, or out to 1310, no doubt. That is a better one.
Oh, the Mini's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's come back.
Hey, that's it.
He's gone. Oh, that's a bad hole. That's a bad one. He went off wide up the grass, trying to hold the car, kept the power on, came spearing back into the back of the pits. Now, the driver's okay. You can see him getting out. He's demolished some of the woodwork. There must be some people in there. There were people standing there. I say by the signs of distress on some of the people around there that someone maybe has been hit. The driver is climbing out of the car. Let's see where he looks, because if there's anyone under the car who have been demolished, he'll be concerned. He'll go to the front. There's something in the bush there, whether the marshal is pulling the trees out, as you can see. Now, that was just a classic case of a car getting caught on the grass and then keeping on going, and he came across the track, was lucky not to collect another car, and straight into the fernery on the entrance road to the pits. Came in behind there, has got into the ornamental gardens. I think he's done no more damage than knocked down some of the shrubbery. He's concerned. There are people running around there. Now, whether they start waving for an ambulance, we'll soon find out, or whether they're just straight spectators. The ambulance is going there. Now, that would be an automatic reaction. But I suspect there may be people in there. I just don't know. Where he went, there were certainly people. Mind you, they're quick, though, and a few of them got out of the way. Yes, now you can see where he went in. The marshals and the rescue facilities are on the spot very quickly. They're still looking in there.
That's not concern for a plant, Evan, I can tell you that.
No, I fear that someone's been driven in there, that there were people standing where he went.
He was... how he ever got back across the track without collecting other vehicles in the race is amazing in itself.
Yes, well, I just wish he'd be able to stop. Now, you know, goodness knows
whether he had how he got off the track in the first place in a straight piece of road, of course, is also a mystery, because...
Maybe differential?
Here we go again with the replay of what happened when the Mini came across the road.
He hit the marshal.
Hit the marshal who was standing in that area there, and has obviously pushed the marshal into that tree area there. So it's a very unfortunate happening during this race at Sandown Park today. Safety of spectators and marshals, of course, paramount on everyone's mind at every racetrack.
It looks to me as though the differential is gone, the slip diff.
Yes.
Because on the front-wheel drive, it does diabolical things, and he's out of control. Now, he's lucky that as he comes back, he doesn't get another car. There's no way he can stop. He's flat out in that area, of course. Picks up the wire. There's an official running. Now, you can see. He hits him, lifts him up. Now, he's been hit and spun high in the air. You can see him somersaulting as the car goes into the bushes. He was caught in the lower legs and hip area and was somersaulted. He's been thrown. At least he went with the car and was moving. That's in his favour, but obviously he's been hurt. Let's hope that it's not too serious, but he's been thrown into the bushes, which again hopefully might have eased the landing when he came down, but he went very high. But he was running, he was quick, he was trying to get out, and he was moving, which would have diminished the impact of the car, and at least it got him in the legs and he went with it. So there's a few hopeful signs there as far as that overall official is concerned. He's there in the bushes, and obviously he's not moving, and the ambulance officer on the scene. The race has been called off.